I'm Dylan at Western Bikeworks, and this is our second installment of What's the Fix Western Bikeworks, our new web series, WTF, WBW, where we take your most pressing questions and we answer them. Technical questions, questions about cycling, arcana. Be sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, submit your questions using the hashtag WTF, WBW, also our Instagram account, our Facebook page, and our Twitter account. Today we have 3 questions dealing with quick releases, so we thought we'd answer them all together. The first one comes from Dave G from Cleveland, Ohio. Dave G wants to know, how do you know if your quick release is properly tightened? This is a huge safety issue, so we want to address that. First thing we have to describe is the difference between the 2 main types of quick releases. There are what we call closed cam and open cam designs, and that describes the position of this cam or this lobe that actually tightens the quick release. Is it internal, where you can't really see it, like this one? Shimano, Campagnolo, they use these closed cam quick releases. Or is it exposed, like this one? This is probably what you're more familiar with. Most aftermarket manufacturers used an open lobe like that. With the closed cam system, they have very specific guidelines. Basically, you want to use this nut on this side to tighten the quick release such that you just get to feel pressure when the quick release lever is parallel or in line with that quick release skewer, and then when you tighten it the rest of the way, it should be all the way tightened. That old adage of you should tighten it such that you have an imprint of the quick release on your palm doesn't really hold true. Shimano is really specific. You close that such that when you tighten the nut, you get to feel tension. The wheel can almost be held in the frame when that lever is parallel or in line with the skewer. Close it the rest of the way and you're good to go. The problem with the open cam quick releases is the profile of this cam or this lobe is so variable across the manufacturers that there's no one recommendation we can give. So you just have to kind of do a little bit of trial and error. Sometimes those are a little more finicky. One thing you do want to make sure of is that these little springs, conical springs, are always with the pointy end facing towards the center of the bike. They just help to kind of center things up. The quick release will work just fine if those are missing, but it does allow you to align the wheel and the dropouts a little bit easier. Other quick release question we got, there was one from Lana K from Portland, Oregon, right here in Portland, Oregon. She asked about the placement of quick releases. Specifically, why do quick releases go on the non-drive side? And that just goes back to the fact that you don't want the quick release lever interfering with the derailleur, the drivetrain components. On mountain bikes, it's a little bit more variable, and on disc equipped bikes, because you do have the disc brake rotor, and that thing can get pretty hot after prolonged braking, so you want to be careful if you're operating the quick release. Another good question that we got, this one came from Tommy from Topeka, Kansas. He asked about the position of the quick release lever when you close it. A major mistake that a lot of people make is they'll close the quick release lever such that it's resting up against one of the parts of the frame, either up against the chainstay or up against the seat stay. This is a romper room no-no for a couple reasons. One is if you put it up against a part of the frame, it makes it very difficult to get your fingers underneath that to open up the quick release. 2, with modern frames, especially oversized tubing with carbon and aluminum frames, by virtue of closing that up against the frame, you may not be closing the quick release lever all the way, so you might not have your wheel in there securely, so that's a big issue. So there are only 2 acceptable places for the quick release lever to be on most bicycles, and this kind of more has to do with road bikes and cross bikes, is we want it either in line with the chainstay right below it, not touching it, or in between the chainstay and the seat stay, again, not touching any part of the frame. There are actually some race organizations, if you're racing in a mass start event, that won't allow you to start if your quick release is, say, facing backwards, because someone can get their wheel in there, if they jerk their handlebars, they're going to open up your quick release, and that's going to cause a huge crash. People aren't going to be super stoked. And on the front of the bike, again, you don't want to ever close the quick release such that it's up against a part of the frame. A lot of people like to put it up against the fork leg. They think it looks a little bit more aero, but it makes it hard to get it open, and it could potentially not close all the way. So only 2 places that this needs to be, right in front of the fork leg or right behind the fork leg, not up against it. That'll make sure that you can get it open and close easily, and it's going to be closed safely. Thanks for submitting your questions. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Submit your questions. WTF, WBW. Next week, we're going to be choosing a winner from among our submitters to win a $50 gift certificate. Have any questions? Give us a call or visit us at westernbikeworks.com.